Physically, he's fine. Obviously, he had not practiced in a long time, and just a lot of little things, he's got to pick back up on mentally. But he did well physically all week.
Will he play Saturday?
I hope so. Yeah, and then, situations will dictate that. DeMario deserves to start, but we want to play him because he really needs to get back in the flow of things, and he's physically okay. And I think as the game goes, we'll see how quickly he plays and how much he plays.
How has Josh Dickerson played in places this year?
Played very well. I've been real pleased with him. I still feel like Shaq's a guy that can control everything out there as far as checks and calls and adjustments, and has a better feel for things. But all of our linebackers have been very pleased with him. Quinn's still learning a little bit and has not been as consistent as the other three, but Dickerson, Strawder, and Polk have all played pretty good.
Dickerson surprised you having to play a little more than you thought he might have to?
No, it doesn't, because last year I was really disappointed toward the end of the year that I didn't get to play more than I could, because he had a very good spring leading into last year, and at the end of the season he was starting to do very well. He had an excellent spring this year, so the fact that he's playing well as a linebacker doesn't surprise me at all. I think the thing I was always most concerned about is we lost our quarterback in there. And those guys have done a good job with it. We haven't had a whole lot of problems or anything. I think sometimes Shaq's a little aware of formations and certain things people are doing. Probably got a little alertness and maybe helps the other guy beside him a little bit.
Anything further on Shaq and how he's coming along?
It's certainly improved, but I wouldn't venture a guess right now on a timetable. But he probably has had the best week this week with it that he's had in a long time.
Is the red shirt question still out there, or do you think it's past that?
The only way I would even think of feeling like a red shirt possibility is if he's not ready through the open date, because I'm not sure the exact technicality of the rules, but if he's still got a problem with it on this upcoming open date in 2 weeks, what would scare me the most is if he does come back on it, it could be re-injured, because if it's taking that long to get back on it, I think it could be something that could jump up and get him again. But if he's ready to roll before the open date at any point in time in the last 8 games of the season, then I really feel like for our good and his good, he needs to play.
What do you do to develop an edge pass rusher like you were talking about? Just tell him to be tougher? I mean, what do you and Brad do?
Recruit. No, seriously.
What about with the guys you got?
Well, it's serious. It's like anything else you're trying to develop. The practice drills that we're doing and repetitions and all that. And I think Devin stepped up and took that role last week. Now, a lot of his plays were in obvious pass situations, which makes it easier to turn it up, and try to cut it loose and get on the edge. But he definitely showed the explosiveness and the skill and the closing speed and some of the things you got to have to be a good edge rusher. And it just needs to keep improving. Chaz Sutton has shown some flashes of it, and I still think that we'll see Chaz Sutton. He didn't get to play last game because of when Brad was ready to rotate him. We'd have a long series on offense, and we'd have a real 3 and out on defense, and he just never got a chance to roll him in and out of there. But he didn't play last week only because of kind of the unusualness of the game, not because of anything that he hadn't done well. So we're still very hopeful that Chaz Sutton will get in that picture too. And Cliff did well the other day. He didn't have the stat sacks, but he was a guy that forced the quarterback a lot of times to end up in trouble.
The flip side of that, have you all been better against the run up front than you were maybe last year?
Well, you look at it statistically, we are, but I don't know. Southern Miss didn't try to run it very much. Sometimes that stuff is funny. I'm not a big stat guy. Last year we were always trying to win a game in the fourth quarter. People were trying to close the clock, and they probably ran the ball more. Our pass stats looked real cute, and our run stats didn't, but with total D, we were doing a good job. This year, we've been giving up too much passing yardage and not turning the ball over enough. Run defense has been pretty good. It really has. I thought Georgia had 3 or 4 successful plays, but one thing we measure every game is explosive plays by the other team, and that's a 13-yard run or longer or an 18-yard pass or longer. And believe me, we only had 1 explosive run against Georgia in the first play of the game. There were some other successful runs, but if you get to the end of a ball game and you haven't given up a lot of explosive plays, you usually don't give up a lot of plays.
How do you feel about Coley's play?
It's been really good. Obviously, he wasn't there the first game, but he got put on an island a couple of times the other night. Our man blitz didn't get to the quarterback on time down the red zone, and we had a zone pressure on when they threw that long ball on him going the other direction earlier in the game, and he had it covered like a glove. But, he's been very good.
Ellis, Melvin Ingram has been working some at tight end. Do you guys still anticipate to have him mostly on D-line?
I don't know what the end of the reps will be. I guess it depends largely upon how much they need him. but we're still double training him for sure. I mean, he starts on our third down package, and he's played an average of almost 30 plays a game right now on defense. So don't think he could ever play 30 on offense, but hell, he may have to. If he does, we're going to have to limit him on defense.
What's Furman do that concerns you the most?
Triple option, the execution of their offense. You know, I've played and coached against them now for 45 years, and there's a common thread that has run through Art Baker, Dick Sheridan, Jimmy Satterfield, Bobby Johnson, Bobby Lamb. A lot of their blocking schemes, a lot of their philosophy of offense has been continued through that span. You see a little bit of different change, more in the shotgun now, a little bit less eye, but they still got an element of the triple option. The belly with the fullback, extremely good, well executed short passing game. They will stay on the field some, on Saturday night, and it's going to be, we've got to be poised and not get flustered on defense, because if our kids come out there and think they're going to smother them, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. I think they'll probably move the ball at times, and we're going to have to play really good defense and not give up any big plays.
Seems like from talking to them, though, that you guys have gotten that point across that it's just going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good week of practice, and I don't think our kids are under any kind of illusion that we're some great football team yet. But still, human nature is human nature. And thinking that these kids are going to get wired like they do for Clemson or Georgia or Alabama, we got to have enough common sense to know they might not. But hopefully we're mature enough and tough enough mentally, we'll go out there and tee it up and get after them Saturday. And Furman's an excellent football team, and they've got tradition, and they've won in that stadium before, and they don't fear anybody, and they'll come in here ready to play.